We need the demonstrations of it, teachers, through the declarations of you that it's in fact happening. These will be the miracles. Will there be specific miracles or actual shifts in time? Of course. Remember that in the overall picture of all of the perceptions of this quadrum of time, as Master Jesus, this is a direct program, all right, that time facilitation has already occurred, and you may join with it at the highest level of the elimination of the necessity for perceptual self-evaluation. I don't know how clear this is, but those of you who are walking along now and suddenly these miracles are beginning to happen around you, and I want to verify that. I want to say, yes, that's true. These things are happening. And it would be important that you see that it's just your mind. There isn't any sense in you being critical of other consciousnesses that you have constructed around you to assist you in the denial of your own reality. Jesus calls this forgiveness, teacher. There isn't any sense in you laying the blame or sharing the guilt for what you term sickness and death with these other mind forces or mind thoughts that are contained within your limited identity with yourself in this time framework. Stop doing it. This is a course in coming to know yourself, and this requires the admission, okay, that the thoughts that you've had and the ones that keep cropping up are all just part of this time continuum in your own mind associations, aren't they? Can the miracle happen? Dear teacher, the miracle is happening perfectly right now, of course, because it would not be possible since you invented time for you simply to make a decision to step out of it and awaken to the truth and glory of the light that is shining all about you. Isn't that lovely? He is risen. He is risen indeed. The graphic demonstration of that appears within your so-called historic memory is the resurrection, the reconfiguration of a single whole body, which has to be you. It cannot not be because you have that thought. It's impossible that you can't use this as a vehicle to wake up. We encourage you to do so now. We'll be back soon. We're here at God's Country Place talking about the resurrection, the enlightenment, the wholeness of you in association with all universal consciousness. Hang on. And we're back here talking about healing again, and everybody says, yes, well, why doesn't the teacher then teach that death is an opinion, and that sickness is an opinion that you have about yourself, and the application of so-called nostrums of healing are nothing but attempts to hold yourself in your own tension, in your own sickness framework. Then the healing must occur. All right. You say, well, is it necessary that I believe you, teacher, in order for the miracle to occur? I assure you that if you believed me absolutely and unqualifyingly, that the phrase that Master Jesus uses, your faith has made you whole, will positively work. Of course, it could not work, because these are declarations of the truth of the wholeness of you. I watch these teachers out trying to heal, and they don't like the word faith, and they're very fearful of the healing actually occurring. Did you know that? It's their own fear that keeps the miracle from happening, because it would be the admission, okay, that their responsibility is only to the truth of God rather than to themselves, and their determination to formulate the process of the wholeness of the mind. Jesus calls that magic. He says you do successfully, momentarily in time, continue to change the images that are about you through the magic of the power of your mind. And it's fun to watch all of the so-called abundance cults and the teachings of limited prayer that cause changes in the phenomenological association of perceptual mind. And indeed they do. But where do they lead? But to death, because the consciousness is limiting himself within that framework of his predetermined annihilation. This is what I'm trying to take away from you. Huh? And this, if you would like to hear this, is what we succeeded in doing. I assure you that it's impossible for you to be listening to this tape or to be in association with this new mind without having resurrected. This is the major admission that's required of you. This will lead you directly to the determination that this is already over and happened, okay? Or didn't happen, coming with the admission that it's already all over. And out of time, I promise you that you at this moment have the absolute capacity to determine through the power of your mind that all of this is not so. Now, you are looking at it in terms of some sort of sacrifice because you believe that it's possible for you to exchange your ideas about yourself with wholenesses or God's idea about you. I assure you that's not possible. I am teaching the relinquishment or the death of self. Know ye not, Nicodemus, that you must be born again? Huh? And this is what's coming about now. Remember that this is a physical transaction. Okay? You are in this bodily association, and the enlightenment of your whole cellular relationship is the requirement for the absolute miracle. Boy, are we happy that we finally are beginning to work this new light energy in you. And we're grateful to the planners of this in our mutual minds, aren't we? They heard this call for help emanating at the maturation point in time and have done a direct insertion to aid in the recall of this colony of desolation that is operating in the netherland of despair. So come join with me now in this light association that has come directly into your mind. Wow. We'll be back. What's going to occur to you, we're back here talking now, as this miracle of the new mind or the enlightenment occurs in you is the absurdity of perceptual associate evaluation. That the thought forms that you construct, and those include the ideas of linear association, are only formulated within themselves as you have constructed your mind. This will amaze you. In regard to time, all right, in regard to time, in Time magazine this week is a statement of that the Big Bang, okay, the beginning of space-time, in a fiery affirmation of energy, occurred 15,000 million years ago. Right? 15,000 million years. Okay. Now, I would direct the consciousnesses that are held in their perceptual observations of relative time, that is, somewhere they must be to come up with a figure like that, to tell me exactly what the difference between 15,000 million years is and a million years, or 100 years, or 1 year, or 10 minutes, except within the association of their thought form. What we declare to you, and you hear this now, is the distance between the cause and the effect, which is the thought of your mind and its subsequent result, will be exactly, okay, as far apart as where you have maturated in your own self-declarations of the extension of your mind, your creative capacity, not more and not less. We're going to begin then with the assumption that the miracle occurs when cause and effect are brought together, and that if you have a thought of happiness and wholeness, it must extend from you and include all of the previous projections of your mind, okay, that are in some sort of past or future framework of reference. And I declare to you that this is a fact, and that this is actually happening all around you, but that you individually, in your own limited perception, refuse to acknowledge it for fear of losing your self-associations even unto the death of yourself or the annihilation of yourself as you have made yourself in linear time. Isn't this so? Now, the resistance to this is enormous because it's a statement that you must include the philosophy of reality, the theology, the scientific endeavors of objective reality with subjective certainty in with the psychology or the wholeness of the power of your mind. We used to call this the bringing together of religion and science or philosophy, the liberal art of creating with your mind. We're here to tell you that you can do this and must do this if you would escape the chaotic associations with perception that have caused you to construct what we would term hell. Okay, your need to put together the chaos of historic thought in the moment or contained within what you refer to as the Big Bang is extraordinary. If the Big Bang began, it's over. Okay, you may keep yourself there for 15,000 million years, and Master Jesus in the Course says you can keep yourself there another 15,000 million years, or you can, as you did, hear this now and step directly out of through the continuing practicing of bringing together of sequential time in your mind. You may make this moment the moment of the Big Bang, can't you? This is the Alpha and the Omega then. This is the direction we want you to pursue because we testify that if you will pursue it, you will succeed and did because it's only the power of your mind that is keeping you from seeing the wholeness and glory of the reality of you right now. We'll be back. Yes, I want to put this on the tape, and this is directly connected to Master Jesus or any awakened mind. I'm perfectly aware that the message being presented to you through the Course in Miracles or through this statement of wholeness of mind is finally going to meet a great deal of resistance from perceptual mind limitation because remember that the perceptual mind and limitation, the so-called human being, the ego, is constructed specifically not to hear this message. Okay, and the ludicrousy of that will begin to appear to you if you see what they do with the Course in Miracles, with the simple teachings that God is a fact and that this isn't real. And the manners in which the mechanisms of limited time perception will deny it and attack it and declare, no, that isn't possible. I'm going to figure this out within my own limited devices rather than simply stepping back in my own perceptual thoughts and allowing the miracle of the light reality to occur. But remember, you are in an association with temporalness. Let's just look at it factually. Show me a consciousness that is eternal here. Show me anything that doesn't involve defense and conflict. Master Jesus expresses this throughout the Course. You're born in pain, you live in tribulation, and you accept it as a normal part of the friction or the tension or the disease of perceptual association. And it's inevitably that it be there, because perception is what conflict is, finally, isn't it? So that when you bring these thoughts into a higher range of association, the miracle occurs automatically, doesn't it? But remember, this is then subjective reality. This is the statement, okay, that all of this is only in your mind. And know how tempted you are, and again Jesus says this, no matter how tempted you are to believe that there are forces outside of you that are asserting the conflict in your association with yourself, either from a beneficent, from a good standpoint, or from a bad standpoint. It is simply not so. The power of healing must be contained in your mind because the splitness that is the direction of your apparent reality is not so because thought is singular. Okay, you are God or wholeness creating, not more and not less than that. So if you will bring all of these thought forms, all of these ideas that you have about yourself, okay, into a single picture of wholeness, this is the holy instant. This is when the miracle must occur. Is this literally a change in the activities that are going on around you in space-time? Of course. Why would that be difficult? If indeed there are 100,000 trillion worlds, what's wrong with this little world being your dream? The miracle occurring simply in your rising up. The resurrection can only be the rising of you out of the sickbed of the hallucination of the world. You're dreaming. This is not real. This is not so. And I understand that the perceptual mind will attack this idea as it has always attacked the idea of wholeness in its determination to assert itself and continue to obliviate itself. You can't die. Let's start with that and then watch the miracle as it occurs more and more in this reference of Master Jesus out of body and out of time. Use the Course in Miracles. And we are evolving the advanced teachers, out-of-time teachers that will assist you with this if you need it, and you are going to become one in affiliation with this message, I assure you, or you wouldn't be hearing this message. This then is the circle of atonement. And your admission of it is what salvation is.